Rev up your engines! Here we got an F-150 and it's got some weird problems. Traction control, lights coming on, but it comes on, it goes off. So, numero uno, if you got something like this, notice it's running, leave it running when you take it to a mechanic or to an auto parts store to get it scanned, so everything will still be on and you won't have to say, well, it's not on now, let's drive around. You drive it around for 3 years. No, you don't want to waste people's money, especially since the mechanics charge $200 an hour up. So let's take a look at it. See, we got brakes, ABS, traction control off, all kinds of stuff. Just remember, do not turn it off. And here we go, F-150 EcoBoost direct injection, 3.5 V6 2014. Does a full topology scan, so let's get it going. And while it is, hey, this vehicle's in nice shape. Nice big armrest, he's got his sockets in there. Got a nice big bed in the back. Seats are really comfy. He had owned a Dodge before and he hated the seats. He traded in on this, it's much more comfortable. I only have 2 codes, so let's start with the ABS code. From some trouble codes. Pressure difference transducer circuit failure. Now, this thing's got 132,540 miles on it. Part of the information tells you it's normal that this will go at the mileage because of wear and tear of the vehicle. Okay, and a lot of that has to do with this is a 4x4. You got a 4x4, you got transfer cases, you got a lot of stuff that a normal vehicle doesn't happen because it's got all those extra parts and lots of crazy software things go on. It thinks that there's the pressure difference transducer has a failure in their circuit. It can just be because it's worn. So, methinks there's a problem with a control module on this thing, which is typical on a Ford. We're sitting here, and now all the warning lights are gone, mysteriously. So that's telling me that the control module is probably it, because the control module is all computer. But the only thing that can ever do that is a bad control module. Well, to begin with, Ford Motor Company wants $1,150 for that control module. He doesn't care, it works perfectly fine, so odds are this baby is not going to get fixed because it's just too expensive. Now, you always have a choice. There are places that sell, in quote, refurbished ones. From my experience, they're not worth the money you pay them for because you got to put them in and you got to pay a guy like me to reprogram them to work with the vehicle. And I have had so many people bring me these refurbished ones that truthfully, you're probably better off buying a used one from a junkyard than buying a refurbished one. But you're still taking a chance because most cars are in junkyards because they're high mileage and it might be broken that it's a Ford. Computer modules are only going to last so long. So let's go back in time here and look at the rest of the truck. Live data. Remember, black's good, red's bad. And everything looks pretty good here so far. The trim is just a tiny bit of trim. 3/100, so it's running good. Voltage is good. All the cam sensors don't have any problems. If there's any problems with the cylinders, 0 across the board. Cylinder head temperature's normal. No misfires. No fault with the cooling fan. Equivalence ratio is almost perfect. There's 1/100th off is perfect. 1/100th over. Pretty good for a vehicle that's got all those miles on it. People have obviously taken care of this. No problem with the fuel pressure system. Realize this is a GDI system. It's got high pressure injectors. And it is very complicated with 2 turbochargers, but doesn't have any problems I can find yet. The injectors you can see, no fault, no fault, no fault. Injector systems. These are extremely complex systems. That's why it's got all the software. Because if it does break down, you're not going to be having a hammer and a screwdriver figuring it out. And at least you'd see which injector had a fault, when they had a fault. You get a lot of data out of these things. Everything's still black. Like I said, it'll make your head spin looking at all this data, but it is all good so far. No fault in any of the shift solenoids in the transmission. Pressures are all normal. No fault in the torque converter. Temperature's normal. It's not overheating. Shows you the turbocharger. That's all no faults too. Say one turbo went out and the other didn't. It would show you which one. But doesn't have any problems. No, he's real happy with the truck. He said it's miles above the Dodges that he had. and it won't rust up north here like Fords were notorious for rusting. They don't have that problem they used to have. It's extremely quick, and he realizes all this high-tech stuff, as they age, things are going to go wrong. But if you don't care, all this stupid safety stuff that's supposed to save you from running into things, turn the steering wheel, step on the brakes. If you know how to drive, all that stuff doesn't work all that well anyways, but it can cost a fortune to repair it. In this case, the module itself is $1,175 for a new one. Then you got to reprogram them. It's not worth the bother for most people to mess around with that stuff because it's an add-on thing. The truck is fast, he likes driving it around, he's real happy with it, it's not going to rust like all the other stuff does up north. So hey, if you don't mind dealing with lights coming on and you find out that, hey, look, it runs okay otherwise, this is something that a lot of people are just going to live with. Now, you can figure out what's wrong with it real easy with a machine like I have, but if you don't want to spend $1,500 or something, why bother? That's the thing about modern technology. At least this has nothing to do with how it shifts, how the engine runs. It runs fine, it shifts fine. It's a fast truck. It's just all this computer stuff as it ages is going to break down, and you have to decide, do I want to fix this or do I not want to fix it? Now he knows it's wrong, and so he's decided he's not going to fix it. He's just going to drive it around, and I don't blame him. Why throw money away? You know, something else will break on the electronics. It's a Ford. The weakest thing of Ford's always their electronics, and as long as the rest of the vehicle goes okay, who really cares? The turbos are in good shape. The engine's in good shape. The transmission's in good shape. It's just all these ancillary computer modules that particular system's breaking down. And as I say, this is typical for just about any car, but especially Fords. If you get something where you got a problem, all you do is turn it off and turn it back on, and the lights go off, and they don't come on till later, you have some type of computer problem. As the computer nerds will always say to you if you call up a hotline, did you try turning a computer on and off? Well, it's the same thing with vehicles now, unfortunately, but hey, we got to live with it, and if you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money, you can live with it too. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Now here's a bad sign of the American economy. More and more Americans are financing their groceries with buy now, pay later loans. You know, those loans that you can get at high interest rates. And they're also paying those bills late, so they're paying outrageous interest rates on the money because they're not paying them back fast enough. It's bad when people start using their credit cards and borrowing money to pay for their groceries. That's just not a good sign. A survey found that 25% of buy now, pay later loans are used to buy grocery purchases. Okay, that's 25%. Last year it was only 14%, so it's going up quite a bit. And of this, 41% said they made a late payment on a loan. That's up from last year too. Imagine, you gotta borrow money to buy your groceries. That's not a good thing. Well, for a lot of us, maybe it would be a good thing, you know? We're all too big and heavy anyways. Don't buy them. I can't afford to buy all these groceries. Don't buy them. Buy less, right? You'll save money. You'll be healthier if you eat healthy, right? I mean, we Americans eat too much anyway. Let's face the facts. We're an obese nation. I'm starting to go down now because I realize I shouldn't eat all these crackers and sugar stuff, right? And alcohol that's just like 100% sugar. If you drop those things out, you're going to feel a lot better, right? So maybe not take loans out to buy candy bars with, right? I feel sorry for the people that have to take loans out to buy meat and vegetables, you know, and bread. They have the regular staples. They got to borrow money for that. That's not boding well for the American economy. It just isn't boding well. I mean, people always borrow money to buy their cars because a lot of people don't have the kind of disposable income. They don't have, the average car is now $46,000. They have 46 grand to pay for a car. Now, I personally have always paid cash for my cars, but I never bought a new car either, right? I mean, the most I ever paid for a car was 14 grand, and that was for the Matrix. And it only had like 40,000 miles on it, and I've had it now for 18 years, and it's still running like a top. It was a good move, right? But I didn't even buy that new. I bought that used too. So my advice is don't spend beyond your means if at all possible. Because if bad times are coming, you're going to be on the wrong end of the stick there. Well, Volvo's got a new CEO, Håkan Samuelsson, which is kind of funny because, you know, obviously Swedish name, right? But it's not a Swedish company. The Chinese own them. Now, the thing is, They build a lot of stuff in China now because of that, right? So now they say, well, they're going to start building their little electric SUVs, more of them. It's in Belgium, right? Now, they just began production of their EX30 electric SUV, and they say, well, we won't send the Chinese ones to the United States. We'll send these Belgian-made ones, right? But you know what I say? We Americans, we don't care. We think your Volvo electric cars are stupid. Volvo electric cars in the United States is the biggest failure Volvo ever attempted to sell in the United States. They can't give them away. They had a deal where Polestar and them were making them, and then Volvo split and said, we're going to make our own. Polestar can make their own. They shared technology, but Volvo's making their own now, right? But nobody was buying these things. Nobody wants them. I've seen people at least a $68,000 one, because they said, well, I'm not going to buy it. I'll just lease it for 3 years. And even then, the lease was still like $28,000 over 3 years. You just peed that money down the toilet. But here's the funny thing. If he would have bought it, he would have peed more money down the toilet. Because when the guy brought it to me in Tennessee, I looked it up, and there were 3 one-year-old electric Volvos for sale in Nashville. 3 of them, right? These are $68,000 up cars. Each one of them was between $22,000 and $25,000, and they had between 15,000 and 20,000 miles on them. And that's what they're asking. They might have even took less, right? That was their asking price. Americans don't want electric Volvos. It doesn't fit the Volvo image. Americans aren't big on electric cars. Anyways, hey, I hate to tell you, Volvo, put on your thinking caps. What do people do with Volvos? They drive them all over the place. My aunt had a Volvo, P1800, had 350,000 miles. There was that guy on the East Coast who had over 3 million miles on a Volvo. They drive them all over the place, people. They don't want an electric car where they're limited to where they can go. So I don't care if you make them in Poughkeepsie. Americans aren't buying your electric Volvos. They don't like them. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.